grades are higher, their graduation rates are better, their ACT scores go up. They're not only increasing their academic results, they're learning incredible skills like critical thinking and research, communication skills that they're going to carry with them the rest of their lives.
I really have a passion for cardiology, so I'm thinking about being a cardiothoracic surgeon. Next year I'm going to Dartmouth, and after Dartmouth I'd want to go to Duke Medicine. A career in public health has been something that I've been interested in because I want to help the people who are always being forgotten.
And the winner for Parking Fee event.
Anyone who supports debate, they deserve the biggest thank you there is, because they realize how important this is, not only for the skills that we gain, but also for the many different relationships that we build while we debate. They should just get a hug and kisses and all of it.
Lambda is creating the leaders of tomorrow.
We change lives here.
Definitely has helped me with research and being a better student.
Critical analysis tools.
I feel like I'm more politically enriched.
And able to make up my own opinions rather than just what everybody else is saying.
Debate showed me that even though there's bad things, us kids, we could change it.
I feel confident. I feel like I can be an advocate for myself, my school, and others.
I'm much more outspoken. I guess you could say I'm confident in my words now.
The skills that you learn in debate really carry on to whatever you do, to whatever you want to do.
You might not know this yet, but you're already a debate person. You need to weigh the advantages and disadvantages of every decision you make, the financial choices.
I'm able to pitch a point, negotiating, like when I get a car loan, dealing with rent or dealing with landlords.
Just allow them to have a confidence that, hey, my voice matters and I can make a difference here.
Every time you fall down, they pick you back up.
It's nice. It's like, in a sense, of family.
Lambda had a big impact in all of our lives. This feeling of family, the sense that I belong somewhere.
Debate was the support system that I needed.
I'm able to be myself and feel safe here. And I'm so thankful.
Never had that many people push me to pursue my dreams. I honestly am thankful that I have Lambda in my life.
ACT scores go up. They're not only increasing their academic results, they're learning incredible skills like critical thinking and research, communication skills that they're going to carry with them the rest of their lives.
I really have a passion for cardiology, so I'm thinking about being a cardiothoracic surgeon. Next year I'm going to Dartmouth, and after Dartmouth I'd want to go to Duke Medicine.
A career in public health has been something that I've been interested in because I want to help the people who are always being forgotten.
The winner for parking fee event.
Anyone who supports debate, they deserve the biggest thank you there is because they realize how important this is, not only for the skills that we gain, but also for the many different relationships that we build while we debate. They should just get a hug and kisses and all of it.
How's it going, folks? Hope everyone's having a good time. Hello, my name is Joseph Flores. I am the Program Director of the Los Angeles Metropolitan Debate League, and welcome to the final round of Landell's 2021 City Financial Literacy Debate Series. Recognizing a strong need to improve adolescent financial literacy, Landell and the National Association of Urban Debate Leagues created this debate series with support from City Foundation. Over the last few weeks, students have been developing their financial literacy and building cases on both sides of this year's topic, the costs of college. Tonight's debate is the culmination of a weekend-long tournament where 75 students from 10 of our schools Am I still here on the Zoom call? My whole computer just decided to go down on me. Give me just a moment to make sure. All right, and I'm back. Apologies for that. Where was I? Anyway, over the last few weeks, students have been developing their financial literacy skills and building cases on both sides of this year's topic, the costs of college. Tonight's debate is the culmination of a weekend-long tournament. 75 students from 10 of our schools debated it out, and the top two teams have emerged to lay it out in the final debate. Before we jump into tonight's debate, though, I have the honor of introducing our special guest speaker for the night, Hansul Kang. Kang is the Assistant Dean of Yale School of Management and the Executive Director of the at Yale. King served as the District of Columbia State Superintendent of Education from 2015 to 2020. She provided strategic vision, clear direction, and steady leadership to DC's state education agency, the Office of the State Superintendent of Education, which served over 90,000 students in public schools across more than 60 local education agencies. Under King's leadership, the District of Columbia continued to make major strides in student achievement outcomes as OSSE took important steps to sustain, accelerate, and deepen their progress for all students. Tonight, she's here to share a few words with you, so thank you. And let me transition it right on over to you. The floor is yours.
Thank you to the Los Angeles Metropolitan Debate League for having me here tonight. I'm really excited to hear from our students tonight, and I want to make sure we can get to their words, so I will keep my words brief. But I have spent my entire career working in public education, from my first job after college when I served as a high school social studies teacher in rural New Mexico, up through a few months ago, my role as state superintendent of education for the District of Columbia. And today I get to lead a center at the Yale School of Management that's focused on supporting leaders who work in public K-12 education. And the reason why I have done this work is because of what school meant for me when I was a student, both in elementary, middle, and high school, and when I went on to college. And so I'm particularly excited about tonight's topic because it's so relevant for students across the country and for our student speakers tonight. While I'm really looking forward to hearing the arguments on both sides of tonight's debate, what I know for sure is regardless of sort of who might have the strongest arguments tonight, what I know is that ultimately what we all want is for every student to get to make the choices that are best for them and their own situation, and to do so with full knowledge and feel empowered in those choices that they're making. We as educators want to make sure that every young person is prepared for whatever path they want to choose after high school, have access to the information they need to make those choices, and have access to the resources they need for that choice to work for them. And so I'm thrilled to hear tonight's arguments and for what it will mean not only for tonight's speakers, but for other students to get to better understand this incredibly important issue. Access to financial aid was the only way that I was able to attend college. And as someone who at the time was actually undocumented, it was very complicated for me to understand what options I had access to. And I didn't have very many people in my life who could help me understand those options. So I think the work you all are doing now to build your own knowledge of this issue and to help other students understand it as well is just so incredibly important. I'm also excited because to me, what debate can mean for young people is the chance to hone your own voice as well as build your understanding of an issue. And in my own leadership journey, that idea of finding my voice, finding my words, and how to share them with others has been one of the most challenging, but also most exciting parts of becoming a leader. And I think you all are going to be further and faster along that path than I was because of the work that you were able to do here through the Metropolitan Debate League. So thank you all for being here. I can't wait to hear your arguments. And I wish you all the best both tonight and as you go further on your own journeys to college.
Great. Thank you so much for your words and insight. Thank you very much. I'm glad to. Yep. Thank you very much. Glad to hear from you, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's debates. Next up, I want to introduce our panelists and debaters. Our first team is from downtown Magnets High School, Dana Ogbeedy and Eric G. McCarthy. If these are your teammates, go ahead and shout them out in the chat. Let them know you're excited to cheer them on. Our second team from Alliance Stern Math and Science School, Mia Martinez and Gabriel Gutierrez. Congratulations on making it to the final round. If these are your teammates, go ahead and shout them out. Let them know they're loved. So far, both of these teams have been undefeated in this tournament, so this is surely going to be a close debate. This round will feature a 3-judge panel. Our first judge is Thomas Mahoney. Thomas Mahoney is a financial wealth advisor at UBS Private Wealth Management, and he serves as the board president of the CFA Society Los Angeles, one of the nation's largest associations of local investment professionals. Our second judge is Tina Hay. Tina Hay comes from a diverse background encompassing film, technology, and finance. She is the founder of CEO of Napkin Finance, a visual guide to money. A strong believer in financial literacy, Tina created the platform for users of all ages to learn finance in a simple and engaging way. Our third judge is Dominic Sopranet. Dominic is an attorney at Quinn Emanuel and specializes in complex commercial litigation and trial practice with emphasis on antitrust, class actions, trade secrets, and civil fiduciary duty in corporate settings. He's also a board member of our league, Lambda. Thank you, judges, for joining us tonight. And for those of you that may not know how competitive high school debate functions, these three judges will evaluate this debate individually and each decide a winner independently. The team that secures 2 or 3 of these judges' ballots will win the debate. Finally, later in the debate, we'll hear some insight and commentary about the round from our debate expert and Lambda program manager, Gabriela Gonzalez. All right, with these introductions out of the way, we all know what we're here for. It's time for the coin flip. Okay, so on my screen, I have a coin. I'm going to flip it. If it lands on downtown magnets, Dana, you will choose your side. If it lands on Stern, Gabriel, you would choose the side. And I'm flipping. All right, it goes to Stern. What side will you be debating?
We would like to debate the 4-year. Ask the 4-year.
Gotcha. Stern is on the 4-year side, which means downtown magnets is on the 2-year side. Judges, please take note of that. Okay. So I just want to say 2 things before we start. First, most of you are likely familiar with our usual style of policy debates, but tonight's format is a little bit different. So to help you follow along, as we transition through the speeches, I've put the speech order on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Second, for those of you that are current debaters watching this, I encourage you to flow and come to your own decision about who you think won the debate. Our panel of judges will decide the winner tonight, but I'm interested in seeing your opinions about these debaters' speeches in the chat. For those of you in the audience that do not know, today's debate will be arguing the following question. If a student has the sole responsibility for the cost of their college education, is it a better financial decision to begin their college education at a 2-year college or to begin their college education at a 4-year college? As a result of this coin flip, Downtown Magnets High School will argue in favor of starting at a 2-year institution, while Stern Math and Science will argue in favor of starting at a 4-year institution. Okay. With that, it's time to jump straight into the debates with our 2-year case first speaker. Eric, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, the floor is yours.
All right. I'm going to be starting in 3, 2, 1. Good evening. My name is Eric, and I'm here on behalf of DMHS. Today, we would like to thank you for spending your time towards allowing us for better financial education. The resolution of today's topic is, if a student has sole responsibility for the cost of their college education, is it the better financial decision to begin their college education at a 2-year college or 4-year college? The better decision is based upon financial responsibility solely. Therefore, 2-year college will always be the better financially for these 3 main reasons: the rising cost of college, the learning experience, and workforce degrees. Firstly, we should like to say that the framing of the debate should be in terms of short-term thinking. We should consider how to finance our colleges. Those decisions may have a domino effect on all future decisions. When considering the short term, the individual should think of how in the near future. The majority of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and we believe that this is due to failed ideology on how money is thought in the long term, consideration of money that they haven't gained yet. When we factor in future disposable income, job prospects, and potential assets, it is crucial to consider whether or not a student can finance the degree in the first place. Still, long-term thinking planning requires careful consideration of loans that accrue interest over time and often limit personal wealth. In order to accurately weigh the cost of student loan debt and degree attainment, it is best to consider the short-term value of a degree. Therefore, we argue that the student should consider financing college education as cheaply as possible, setting one up for better financial decisions in life. Moving on to our contentions. Contention 1, rising costs. The rising costs of college have become more and more of a problem over the years. As people have become more and more competitive with the cost of college has gone exponentially up. So when we consider what the best financial starting point for higher education is, it is without a doubt community college, which is not only more affordable, but the way that community colleges should be viewed and should be more widely accepted as the norm and where individuals should start from. Community colleges have flexible classes that allow for more leeway for individuals. Community college is also more affordable for a greater amount of people, which allows for more people to go to college. 17 states in the United States offer free state tuition to a state community college. Community college gives the individuals the options to boost grades from high school. Community college should be viewed as a first resort, as class sizes are smaller. According to Andrew Jorswit, a former contributor to investing at Forbes, he says that the average per cost at a community college is $135 compared to $325 at a four-year. This debate shouldn't be framed into extraordinary circumstances, but in the general population. According to a report in Trends in college pricing done in 2018, it determined that $35,000 was the average cost of annual tuition and fees at private institutions, compared with $9,700 at state colleges and $3660 at an average community college. Moving on to second contention. Contention 2, learning experience. There is way more flexibility when it comes to a community college, allowing for students to fully explore and look at what they want to major in at a much lower price and aren't bound to any time schedule. It may take longer, but it is by far cheaper than the four-year options. Students who attend community colleges are shown to have more confidence in themselves and their abilities. Community college students are more likely to go on to further learning experiences. Community college are also offering the experiences of four-year colleges, with having one quarter offering dorm rooms, according to a 2016 study report from the American Association of Community Colleges, meaning they offer traditional elements of a four-year. Most importantly, though, community colleges offer a better interaction between the student and their professors for several reasons. First is that they have smaller class sizes. Second is that the teachers aren't bound to any research that most professors at four-year colleges are bound to, so they can solely focus on teaching. According to Kevin Carey, who is an American higher education writer and policy analysis, I quote, "The first concern of the research university is unsurprisingly research. Community college, by contrast, are far more focused on teaching, and some are doing it better than even the most esteemed four-year institutions." One study also conducted by Kevin Carey surveyed community colleges compared with four-year university students, that community colleges have a higher interaction, discussion, and one-on-one rate than four-year universities. Over 2/3 of community colleges students engage in classroom discussions. Moving on to our third contention. Contention 3, workforce degrees. Going to community college allows for students to apply for higher paying jobs. The reason why the community fills workforce requirements as it feeds into the growing trend of having a bachelor's degree. So community colleges see that there is a need for bachelor's degrees in the workforce. So they respond with states beginning to shift towards offering for certain four-year degrees at community colleges. One example is that the Florida legislature granted St. Petersburg the authority to issue bachelor's degree due to the many of the four-year traditional programs are harder to get into. Also, getting a bachelor's degree is much more cheaper at a community college. Community college will be essential to fill the workforce needs, as there is a shortage of applicants that are qualified for the labor that is needed. Community college is a way to fill those gaps with those in those jobs, ways that the individual is guaranteed admission through transfer agreements. There are transfer agreements that have to be filled by the school. According to National Student Clearinghouse research data, 29% of community college students who started in the fall in 2011 transferred to a four-year institution within 6 years. Although these numbers may seem low at first, it can be explained for three following reasons. Not every community college student wants to transfer to a four-year. Second is that 60% of community college students attend school part-time, often having family obligations or job obligations, as they cannot be committed to being full-time students. Third is based upon some times applying for a school without having the right transfer credits necessary. So it's a good idea to read the fine print before to avoid this problem. However, a 2019 study conducted by the National Student Association for College Admission Counseling found that 62% of transfer students are accepted to four-year institutions. In conclusion, two-year colleges offer many different opportunities to their students, from workforce degrees to better learning experiences. And most importantly, the financial aspect of it is by far, on average, a way lower cost. The two-year option is a better point starting financially to begin with. And later in your learning education, one can transfer to a four-year college and get the credits needed to advance their careers. Yeah. And I'm just going to, for the rest of my time, 20 seconds, it's fine. I'm open for cross.
All right, starting cross-ex in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so what are the jobs that I guess are needed to be filled in? What do you say?
Well, in general, there are like a lot of sort of STEM opportunities that have become popular over the years. So those are like one of the main jobs that are sort of lacking in the.
So STEM jobs, basically, that would involve a higher education in the
Well,
STEM
that's
field.
just one example. But sorry, your question?
So STEM jobs that need higher education, right?
Well, the community colleges offer a lot of the credits needed to start their careers, and like that's what we're kind of arguing, that the financial aspect is where we should start when looking at our careers. Even though it may not give everything they need, they can later transfer to a four-year where they can fulfill their bachelor requirements or whatever they want to major in.
Okay, so then you gave evidence about in 2011, only 20 something percent actually transferred. What was that percentage again?
It was 29%, and I did give 3 reasons why those numbers are so low.
Yeah, so do you have any more like relevant reason? Because it's 2021, that was 10 years ago. Like any more like relevant statistics? My bad.
I think there was one conducted also by the same company. It was like, I think it was like 2016 that said it was like 26%. But we still argue that like there's, that we argue that the 62% of people who transfer actually do get into a 4-year college. So we're looking at that number compared to that 29% or 26%.
Yeah, so wouldn't 60% of 29 be even smaller?
No, we're saying that we're arguing that you can transfer to a 4-year to get your bachelor's, and even if you don't, some community colleges offer bachelor degrees, bachelor's programs. But we're saying that 62% of people who want to transfer to a different school get into a 4-year institution.
Okay, out of those 60%, how many of them finish the 4 years or like the 2 extra years they need at the other institution?
Well, typically there is a study that shows that 75% of students who transfer actually finish their 4-year degrees. I can find the quote, or I can find the site if you want.
Right? Of like how many?
It was by the national. It was 71%. So the National Student Clearinghouse Center said that transfer students graduate at 71%.
Okay, so it went from the 29% to like 60% of that 29.
What we're talking about exclusively, we're talking about transfer students, right? People who are committed to actually furthering their careers through a 4-year program.
The number begins to get smaller as like they keep researching, right? Because like less people are actually those 60%.
Well, you can't take. We can't take one correlation from like 29 to 26% and say that they're smaller. It could be next year that, it goes up, goes down. Statistics are like unreliable in that way.
Okay, thank you. That's time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start in 3, 2, 1. Howdy, I'm Mia Martinez from Stern, Mass, and I'm the first speaker for the 4-year college path. The resolution questions if it's wiser to attend a 4-year college or a 2-year college if the sole responsibility of cost is on the student. I'm taking the stance on affirming that it is a better financial decision to start off education at a 4-year college. And thank you, judges and everyone, for being here. This debate should be judged based on which option provides the best return on investment of college. Contention 1 is networking. Networking is essentially interacting with other people in the professional world in order to improve your contact to the professional world. By creating contact with others in the professional world, you are able to find job opportunities easier and get started working in your career sooner. According to Porter and Wu, what you know gets you into the room, but it is who you know that will get you a seat at the table. They mention how most of the time you need to have connections in order to be able to get your quote unquote foot in the door. And that it leads to you being able to get involved with what you are interested in and build your experience and connections. Being in school also allows your professors and administrators to be able to provide opportunities for internships and interviews. Building connections at a 4-year college is easier because there are more people who are better connected to the business world and have available opportunities for students to get their career started. Doing so allows a student to start to make money and start to get into working much sooner, meaning they now have an income to budget. This allows students to have opportunities right after college or even during to get the benefits of their degree. This means that not only will they be able to quickly pay off their loans for school because they have an income, but they will have gained a valuable skill and connections because they went to a 4-year college. This means that they have an easier time paying off debt, but also a better return on their large investment that is a 4-year college. Contention 2 is a higher earning potential. Attending a 4-year college has many benefits. All of them are a part of the largest reason to go to a 4-year college, a higher earning potential. Networking, prestige, a higher education quality, all of those will give students a much higher earning potential than a student at a 2-year college. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average weekly salary of someone with an associate's degree, a degree from a two-year college, is $887, with an unemployment rate of 2.7%. The average weekly salary of someone with a bachelor's degree is $1,248 and only an unemployment rate of 2.2%. That's a difference of about $1 million in lifetime earnings. Even though the cost of tuition is higher, you are going to make more in the end. Starting off at a four-year college means that you will actually experience the advantages from the start. In the article, Why 60% of Community College Students Never Transfer by Grace Chen says, in California, 60% of community college students who intend to transfer to four-year universities never meet their goal. Those 60% wasted their time and money. Spending that money on a four-year college would be more beneficial in the long run instead of spending it only on a two-year college. Potential lost credits mean they'll have to spend more time going to school and will run out of FAFSA, which only lasts 6 years. They are also missing out on experiences from their first 2 years at university, which includes clubs, meeting new people, and experiencing new things in a new place. Contention 3 is a higher graduation chance. The graduating rate at four-year institutions is much higher than two-year college. In order for something to be a better financial decision, you want to gain something from it. A four-year college is a better investment because there's a higher chance of graduation. The following statistics are by educationdata.org and state graduation rates have also increased overall, especially at public four-year institutions. College graduation statistics suggest greater student success at these institutions. Four-year institutions average at 60.4% graduation rate. That number may be higher among students who take longer than 6 years to graduate. Two-year institutions average at 31.6% graduation rate. This data was derived from a college graduation statistics from 01 to 18. These numbers are important to take into consideration because these numbers reflect that a four-year institution is doing good in terms of environments and helping students graduate versus a two-year college. It is important in order for students to be in a place where success is the main goal. Conclusion. Therefore, going to a four-year college provides opportunities for students to prepare for the real world in networking, meaning they'll get a long-term career sooner, and their degree allows for a higher earning potential, meaning they will be able to get their money much sooner in life, and their investment in college will have been a great choice. Not only that, but the graduation rate at a four-year college is exponentially greater. These three advantages allow for a better return on their students' investment of their education, and thus you should vote on the four-year path. And that will be all for me. I am open for cross-examination.
Next up is CrossX.
All right, your APA article says that networking is the set of behaviors that are aimed at building, maintaining, and using informal relationships that possess the potential benefit of facilitating work-related activities. What about the infrastructure of a four-year college makes that process easier?
So four-year colleges provide opportunities like internships and academic-based clubs and other interactions. And there's a wider range of people who are interacted with the business world, or in general, just people who are in already their careers, which means that they have more chances of talking to people and getting to know more people that are in that wide array of areas, meaning that you're going to be able to get more connections better. And like there's even other types of clubs like fraternities and sororities that are going to be better for like networking. And those allow for students to get those connections that they build later on, so that later on when they need those kind of things, they have someone to reach out to that they're close to and build like that. Like there's a thing of the opportunity of the handshake, where actually going up and shaking someone's hand will be beneficial because it's allowing that person to get that interaction with someone and that close connection to someone, which is what's really important in networking, and that it allows for a lot of opportunities in the job world.
Sure. My question was more about like, why is a business club at a four-year school different than a business club at a two-year school? Like if it's just about meeting people with professional connections, why is that unique to a four-year university?
So four-year universities are typically have a lot more people that are connected to the business world, like I said earlier, but more often than that, it's just like a more access to that because it is usually a wider array of people, versus that a community college will have a smaller like selection of people. Meaning,
okay, I have another question. So your second article says that low transfer rates are caused by things like rising tuition at public universities, which discourages people from transferring. Why does that mean that students who go to four-year schools are more likely to graduate?
Students at a four-year school are more likely to graduate because of the environment that's created at a four-year university, and that's very different than at a two-year university, which is impacting that like graduation statistic. Yeah.
All right. The US DOE says that 20% of students default on their student loans. Why does that mean that like four-year universities are better for building personal wealth?
Because of the higher earning potential at the end and the higher you're going to be able to build that or you're going to be able to make that kind of money back afterwards, and you have more access to scholarships and grants at the beginning beforehand. So and like at four-year colleges versus you don't really get that kind of access at a two-year college.
Well, people default on their student loans because they're not making enough money to pay them after they graduate. So if like a fifth of all students who graduate from four-year universities literally can't afford to pay their loans, why does that mean that like they've successfully networked or they've been able to like leverage career opportunities?
Well, the fact that there's other ways to be able to get money for school other than just student loans, which does end up being like a larger percentage of, but there's still opportunities like scholarships and grants, like I said earlier. And that's time. Sorry.
That is time. All right. So, with the constructive speeches now over, the debaters are going to take a moment to prepare for their rebuttals and their concluding statements. While that prep time is running, I've got Gabriela Gonzalez here with me. We're going to chat a little bit about what we've seen so far in this debate. So, how are things going? Who do you think is ahead in this one?
I feel that so far everyone is actually on neck and neck. I feel like the affirmative or the two-year option has definitely brought up a couple of good points, talking about how in the short term, a two-year option is best because of the return on investment argument, and also, I guess, the good educational experience that students can have at a two-year. I mean, when professors are focused more on teaching and less on research, I mean, I feel like that could enhance the student, learning potential and just how they apply that knowledge outside of the classroom. I think that's a really, really good argument in terms of maybe that, maybe giving back to the students in terms of investment. But also the negative or the con side of the four-year option also brought up pretty good points, right? Talking about how, for example, the graduation rates are way higher at a four-year university. And I think CrossX really highlighted that when they talk about, the environment that's created or nurtured at a four-year and more opportunities for networking that could possibly second prove to be the better financial decision because of the networking opportunities that students have. I mean, now, what is it? The evidence that they cited talks about it's more so about who you know that'll get you the foot into the door of whatever option that you choose. And I think both teams here are even on that question. Because Dana also brought up a pretty good point, talking about how, what's the difference in options and opportunities or activities from a two-year versus a four-year. I think we're gonna have to see in the debate how that conversation turns out, because that's a pretty good point.
Awesome. I want to give some shout outs to the folks in the chat. Thank you all for tuning in for this debate. They have about 3 more minutes of prep. Let's see if anyone was asking any questions. Yeah, everyone agrees so far that both teams are handling their side really well. If there was, did some drop off? If there was one argument that you think they should have dropped, which one do you think might be the weakest link right now?
The weakest link, I would probably, I feel like they're a little bit even on both questions. I feel like both teams, I feel like there are some missing pieces in terms of impact framing, or why should I care about their particular contention. So I feel like the rebuttals, we're really going to have to see which contention each team proves to be the weakest. Because the way that it's written now, I feel that it's very even. Both sides have very convincing ideas, but in terms of framing or which one is the better financial decision, I think the debaters are going to have to hash that out during rebuttals, because as it is, I feel like they're both pretty even.
Yeah, I agree. These case speeches have been really strong and sort of building up their own case. I'm looking forward to the rebuttal speeches where they're actually going to do a bit more side-by-side clash and comparison. And I'm sure the judges are going to be looking for that too, because I think both teams are trying to access some of the same arguments about access to jobs, access to networks, earning potential, all of these kinds of terms. But it's going to become a question of who wins that race to the bottom. Awesome. So with that, I'm going to give the debaters one more minute to prep. Any last comments before we bring them back?
I feel like if I would have known this information, I probably would have made a different decision when I started off my college journey. Definitely sympathize with the 2-year option, because I feel like, yeah, maybe the learning experience would have been a little bit better. Maybe I would have matured more as a student if I had, more flexibility in terms of, or more one-on-one interaction with my professors, instead of 100 classroom size or 100 plus. So I feel like being more informed, or if I would have heard these debates earlier, maybe it would have made a better or more informed decision, or navigated college more intentionally as opposed to accidentally. But I wish I would have known this information way sooner.
Yeah, I agree. I was halfway through college before I realized I should probably talk to people and not just slink my way through class and just make sure I got the good grades. That there's a lot more to it. On top of that it's not enough just to have the degree. It's about what else do you do while you're there. Awesome. So with that, it looks like prep time is up. Have all the debaters returned? I see 3 of us. Is Eric there? Yes, he is. All right. So next up, we have our 2-year rebuttal. Thank you, Gabriella, for your comments. And
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Dana Agbidi, and I'm a senior from downtown Magnets High School. I'm so appreciative of this opportunity to have an open conversation about financial planning and learn about making informed financial decisions. Thank you for taking the time to facilitate an activity that has given me so much. Our opponents have suggested that 4-year colleges are a better financial decision, but this is grounded in long-term thinking. In order to factor in future disposable income, job prospects, and potential assets, it is crucial to consider whether or not a student can finance the degree in the first place. Still, long-term planning requires careful consideration of loans that accrue interest over time and often limit personal wealth. In order to accurately weigh the cost of student loan debt and degree attainment, it is best to consider the short-term value of a degree. Also, in order to assess the value of 2-year degrees, it is important to remember that the resolution is about where students should start their college educations, rather than where they finish. Spending 2 years at a community college does not mean that students cannot access networking opportunities available at 4-year schools. Based on a survey conducted by Chegg Internships, of the students that do internships, only 13% complete 3 or more during their time in college. This is because many internships require junior standing to even apply,